That is our mini feature, and today we are discussing exploring artistic expression. Now, what was the first thing that got into our minds while we were writing this mini feature was just happiness, selecting the topic. Creativity is all about happiness. And you notice when you go for birthday parties, they'll give you a section. Some birthday parties will say, start creating, start drawing, start expressing your feelings. And I saw that fascinating. I was like, wow, that means creativity also can be an expression of one's happiness. That's why we chose this topic, because we said we just want to make you happy. We have been discussing now. Let's discuss what will make you happy in this new year, how you can keep yourself happy. What are those hidden things that you can bring out of it? Not necessarily because you want to make money out of it, but just to keep yourself happy, keep yourself going. How many times do you play cards? How many times do you just dance for dancing sake? How many times do you draw? Yes. How many times have you picked up something and done a sketching? How many times have you sat down and said, let me just start thinking? I mean, how many times now that expression of artistic? And today we want to have that conversation. And who else is going to have this conversation with us? Than the birthday girl herself. If you listen to our intro, you know when we're doing birthday shout out, we're hyping somebody. It's because the person was here in the studio and the person said, it's as if I'm not here. She is here with us. We are talking about our very own Tumise Oluwadapo Kuku. I called it Ola. I think I got it right. Ola. No, okay. Ola. Hey. Olu. Well, Sha, Mr. Kuku, you see, we are trying to learn Yoruba, and we are pardon. Today is birthday, we are pardon. And I was really saying that I was going to get this name right. The way Olori used to pronounce it full and it will sound. My Yoruba is coming up. Just like you said, we want to be happy in the studio this morning. Yes, good morning to you. Good morning. Happy New Year to you. And happy birthday. Oh yeah, we've seen, but not as a guest. So happy New Year as a guest.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 46 is a very good place to be.
No, how does it feel? When you celebrate your birthday, okay, let's come to the reality of artists. How does it feel like? I'm not saying it, but when people call you
to wish you all the shout out and everything. What comes to mind?
I've had a couple of tears this morning, and that's because I've had calls from people I've just spoken with in a bit, and they're saying almost the same thing, and that grounds me. The fact that almost everyone who's called are saying almost the same thing differently
about your personality.
It tells me there's so much more work to do, and then it also tells me that I'm on the right path. So it's, for me, birthdays are extremely reflective. Even for you guys, I was supposed to step on stage at all. I just want to sit down and just reflect. I'm not one of those ladies that hide their age. I'm very, very comfortable with telling my age, to just, people say to just hold on to number age. So numbering my days, I'm not afraid to share my birthdays. I'm not afraid to share my date. So yeah, if so, you ask me how it feels, it's just, it's I don't want to say it's because that's quite cliche, but it's grounding, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful despite a lot of things, I'm grateful to be here. Let's put it there.
And when one of the aunts called, I saw like you were like that young girl, you understand what I feel?
The
On your
child.
birthday, the inner you, baby girl you, Gongo, not the world baby girl thing, comes to reality.
And that's the essence of creativity. And I think when we get to the conversation, we'll talk about the essence of keeping most of us are killed that inner child.
Yeah, that's inner child.
That inner child. We have also killed the creativity. Killed because that's where curiosity.
Yeah, it comes in now.
That's where our curiosity is. I play a lot, and people say, "Tumisha, you play a lot," because I play a lot because that's how I was as a child, and as a child, um, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, but I did a million and one things, and even now, I go back to that child whenever I'm lost to it.
Now, talking about exploring artistic expression, for
Mm-hmm.
me, everything about this topic was just happiness.
Mm-hmm.
How do we bring out the happiness in every adult, just like you said, the child in you? How do you, because I realized the whole of last year I didn't sit down to do anything creative. I didn't sit down to even, when I see my kids drawing, I just pass, but it's something I could have done a little sketching with them, maybe play one card, maybe deliberately play one music and dance. But now, why is artistic expression very important in our very life?
Well, because play is a place where you find yourself. When you do something that for just for the fun of it, not because of the objective, not because of what but just for the fun of it. Play is where if you're honest enough with yourself, you find yourself. Um, 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 like you said, I do paint my numbers. If you come to my house, you see a lot of things. If I should have even bought for it's like paintings that I go um to stores and I buy toys for myself. That's for 3 year olds. Yes, I do it for 3 year olds, for 6 year olds. I buy toys for myself that I buy building blocks for myself that is for 3 year olds. And I've gone to a mall with someone before, and my friend is going like, "What is that for you?" No, it's for me. It's for me. There's adulting is so much, but the reason we struggle with adulting is because we've killed our child.
Killed that child. Very
So how
true.
can one use creativity to express one's emotions?
Of course, these days I'm glad that sipping and painting is coming back. People are sipping and painting and painting and all that. But one of the first things that I think, especially if you're struggling to put down your gadgets and all that, is to write. People think everybody is a writer. Well, of course, not everybody's going to get published. Not everybody's going to, but everybody, because your words are inside of you, and because we're mostly silenced as children, we lost our voices. But you can find your voice again if you get a journal and start. I had a friend who had this who launched a journal, like very very beautiful journal, mindful moments, and on my favorite part of that journal says what chair are you sitting on today, and there's chair of happiness, joy, grief, the wide range of emotions. So you look at the chair, you look at the pictures, and then you look at the chair you're sitting on, and you write about that.
Hmm.
Another way of trying to prepare
Yeah,
your
to
mind on
prepare
how you
yourself,
write.
on how to, because you're using your own words, you're not
Telling
using
your
the words
story.
that teachers have told you to use or somebody else's.
So,
And when people come to my to my coaching table, for example, I almost always when we had a conversation, almost always tell them to write an affirmation, create themselves. Because when you look at that, it says you're looking at you, and there's give me what? No, why don't you look at yourself and say, oh joy, this this is where I want to be. I'll give guidance, yes, but I always say use your words because um again maybe because of the privilege of me being a linguist, I know that the moment you can articulate whatever it is you're thinking in words, you're beginning to heal. All right, you can express yourself even if you're not saying to the whole world. You're looking at and you read it back and and 95% of the time when I ask my clients, my coaches to look at what they're reading back, I'm like, oh, is that me?
That you. We are still discussing exploring artistic expression. Yes, through art, through creativity. What makes you happy? Can you cultivate that habit this year If it's singing, if it's writing, you're not doing it because you want to make money out of it, but just to keep it. Look at your painting, look at it, and just start smiling. Now we still have our guest here in the studio, and today happens to be her birthday. I'll keep shouting, yeah.
Yes,
What a good thing to have the birthday lady with us this morning. Now, how can culture influence expression of art? Now, before you answer that question, I came across a video of a school girl that was asked, school pupil that were told to actually paint in class, and this girl drew a young girl crying with arms folded and like somebody was shutting her mouth up. So the teacher picked that, it's like, and the teacher looked at it and called her and said, "Come, what's been happening to you?" Then they realized that she was always being molested, but the parents couldn't listen to her. So that was her expressing that inner pain. And it got to me. I was like, so there's so much power in every artwork you see. When I see artwork where mothers are backing children and fetching water, it reminds me of motherhood. But how has culture really influenced? Because I feel like this part of the world, just like I said, it's of recent to go for birthdays, and some birthdays they'll say, okay, do a little bit of painting. But I feel like this side we are not.
I beg to disagree. Because creativity, the art is not just a creative part, because and art is quite diverse and vast and all that. I grew up with a father who is a pianist, and he was a pianist, no longer like he was. Yes. He was a pianist, and he tried to teach me how to play the piano. I don't know more than more than my chord, my C chord. For example, my brother is not a concert pianist, but music is always in my always. What he then did was to channel my love for music to voice, and then he trained my voice, and my brothers also played other instruments. So there are other ways to express this repressed emotions, and there's art in going outside to just hike. There's art in just going outside to take a run. There's there's art in observation. Do you know people? I do people watching, for example. Like go to a cafe. Yes, in Nigeria, I go to a cafe in the mall, and I just watch people.
And it gives happiness. Yes, it does. It does. Yes, there's a way you feel. Yes, yes.
What that's done for me is extremely therapeutic to me, because I'm looking at them and I'm just imagining what's going through their mind, and then I'm writing. I'm imagining how I'm looking at two interactions, and I'm not even hearing what they're saying because I'm usually in my headphones, but I'm just looking at the body language and all that. Okay, this might be what they're talking about, and that just gives me joy. So I think what makes people feel that being creative is difficult is because we have bought it to be a certain thing. No, it's not.
Narrowed it down.
No. It's you can express anyhow, anyway. And I was before we came back, I was telling you about my daughter, and even my son. When they were younger, because I come from a music background, I wanted them to, and I got them a guitar trainer. I got them they were struggling. I forgot, in fact, that she's coming. She also has a part of her in her DNA that is going musical. That's part of the reason. But they have other parts of artistry and creativity. And I remember when my husband and I were dating, he used to just draw. When he wrote me a note, he would draw something, some just very funny thing. But now my daughter is an artist, and that's what she's studying in the university. My son woke up one day, self-taught, started playing guitar and saxophone. It was, and we found out it was a way for him to calm himself. Just when the noise is too much, he picks up his guitar and he begins to strut. This guitar is mine anyway. I don't know how to play.
I can it because I got my
my
daughter a guitar as a
Can you
gift when she was
imagine?
5 years. Until today, that guitar is still lying down there. Nobody. In fact, it's just once in a while she does. But then I noticed she locks herself in the room. And she just be expressed. Sometimes I would tap on the door. Emanuela, what? And she said, "Mommy, I'm fine."
Yeah.
And one day I had to go. I was telling her I had to go through the window, and I just saw her just expressing, talking.
I want to meet her. I want to meet her. Your wife, you know, when I was a teenager, and young adult, I did exactly the same thing, but I'm definitely sure it's not because of the same reason that I did mine. I would sing at the top. I get back when I'm going back from work. I'll get down the bus stop and I'll sing with my Walkman on. If you don't know what a Walkman is,
oh my God! Walkman, yeah. Walkman. I think I know that. Yeah. yeah. I think I meant that.
Oh my God!
I meant that.
I walk and I'm singing at the top of my voice, and I get to my room and I just lock my room and I just dance and I dance and I play, you know. And very recently, I was on an interview and someone was asking me that going through everything that I went through, how did I go through? And I sat down into the interview and said, oh, this was how. I was constantly singing, I was constantly creating, I was constantly writing, I was constantly playing, and the years that I didn't do that, I lived more depressed than, you know, and it just fed the depressive part of the diagnosis I live with, which is bipolar affective disorder. But guess what? The moment about 3-4 years ago, that okay. Trust me, I'm working on till now. I'm working on the road and playing. I'm running. I'm dancing. I'm singing. I'm writing. I'm painting now. Because when I was younger, I used to when they told me to go sit in the corner when I'd done something, it was not a punishment.
Because
It was
like
not a
finding your space.
because I just pick a pencil and then I just begin to scribble. So yeah, so it what it does to us into our mental health, is to help us to function. So now let me give a clear, because I know somebody will say, "Oh, this is a women's mental health one," but let me give a clear definition that I got from Dr. Emmanuel Abayami, who was on the podcast. He said, "What mental health is the thoughts in your head, the emotions that come in your heart. Are they working hand in hand with your behaviors? Your behaviors, yeah. And so if the thoughts in your head and the emotions in your heart are not in sync with your behavior and the way you see yourself, that's a question.
There's a question there. Yeah.
This will bring me to a particular scenario I'm also going through. My daughter. Sometimes, it got to the stage. After our school started, she was waiting, for the institution process, and I was like, "What are you doing here? Why are you always quiet?" I said, I want to know. Yeah, even though I know she has always been someone who does poem, does scripting and all that.
So I really feel for you mothers who have created children. I have, but finish, yeah.
So I want to ask, is there boundaries? Should there be boundaries? Because sometimes, it got to a stage when I was like, it took a while. Also, we had the same month. She's June, I'm June. So I was like,
how do you mean boundaries though?
In creativity. Is there boundaries? Should one set boundaries?
How do you mean boundaries? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Should there be a limit to what you can, how you can think, or how you can express yourself?
There should be a guide, but not boundaries. We don't place limits on creativity. We can't
express.
You allow, So, for example, again, since we're talking children, that's why I said I feel for all of us who have creative children, and I feel for my mother now that I have a creative child, because imagine having 4 children who were, neurodivergent. That's my mom, and she didn't understand how it was But imagine my daughter, if she's angry, she's drawing. If she's happy, she's drawing. If she's drawing.
So you don't
If
even
she's,
know when
she's
to.
drawing. Do you understand? But we had, and then she could be very perfectionist, and she could like, oh, I didn't do this, I will. I didn't do this, I will, and then she's going on that. And we have to say like, okay, you know what? You cannot be perfect all the time. Sometimes when the masquerade falls, is a style.
It's a style. It's a style.
You know, so with the wisdom and the knowledge that the adults in the authorities in the life of the young people, then they will be able to guide and guard them. But please do not limit, because the moment if you Dr. Brené Brown, read any of books, and she's a researcher on shame, guilt, and vulnerability, and she's been researching since 2001 or 2000 thereabouts, and she said that most of the people who suffer guilt and suffer more as adults were people whose creativity was shut down
Very true.
when they were children.
Very
Or
true.
and this happened. I'm trying hard because I don't want this conversation to go there. I'm trying the child that was. I saw the video. I really was bad, you know. But when teachers say, "Oh, teachers are psychologists," if they don't know, if a teacher doesn't know today that you're a psychologist by extension. Because whatever you are the extension of a parent for those 6 hours that they are with you. So you understand? And most of the people who had problems with guilt, with shame, with repressed emotions, were people who the teacher had said, "Oh, your art was not as good as this," or "What your taught you was not as good as that," and they just shut them. And because you don't know how the other person would respond, we have to be very careful. And I say that, and even as a radio presenter, I was very careful, very, 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 very careful when a new musician was coming to me with their song, because I have music background. I can hear music, I can conduct, so I know when you're singing off, I know when it is off and all that. So I was very, very careful the way I gave feedback to musicians who were just starting out. I was very, very careful. So I knew the things to say, so as not to discourage them. Or I could say, if you did this, maybe I said, oh, this was good. But if you did this, if you did it this way, and for me it was easy because I had music background. So we have to be very careful how we give feedback when people do things that are not that we don't think are creative, but it's actually creative.
Yeah.
We have to be very, 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 very careful about that. Yeah.
Now, talking about happiness itself, because for me, anytime I'm off, I love cooking. If you see me cooking and feeding everybody, just know that something is up my. And at that period, I could stand and cook 4 different meals, and you're seeing Superwoman. Meanwhile, it's therapy.
It's just therapy.
And I'm watching you eating, and I'm happy. And then another thing for me is strolling. I could walk along the sands, and you're asking, Joy, where are you going? So I'm just strolling. Now, and there's one time somebody looked at me like, this is not it, stop it. When I stopped, I discovered that if I don't stroll, something in me is not letting go. For adults who are still struggling with such creativity that brings them, how do they come out of it as we round up the show?
Excuse me. The first, enjoy yourself with truth. Tell yourself the truth. I know that it sounds very cliche to say find yourself, but please do. I know that for me, music does it.
Just like Gen Z, she always sings.
I know that for me, cooking does it. I know that writing does it. Painting does it. and you don't have to paint from the scratch.
Mm.
There are a lot of mandalas around now that you can go to books and just go buy and then see. Adulting is tough, but trust me, that child in you has answer. If you ask,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about your children. If you ask, the child
in you.
If you sit down with yourself and just say, okay, what made me happy as a child? Where was the happiest place I was as a child? Trust me, you will gain clarity.
For me, it was always by the streams, by the where the birds are singing. That's for me.
The best place you were as a child.
Yeah.
How was it like? And once in a while in life, if you are the type that sit down and do a self-evaluation of yourself, you will always find that space. You will. And you want to get into that space and just find out what was it that you missed, what was it that you need to catch up with. And it will help you to really run. Really, it will have you.
Oh yeah.
It will help you to run.
Yeah, because so the thing about creativity, and I'm because you guys are using the word creativity is why I'm using it. But the thing about being yourself is reinventing yourself, and that alone is creative. Inventing yourself every day. Like your bad people will say, they have given birth to you. You too. Give birth to yourself again. Right? The fact that, and the best place to find that rebirth is with the young you. A friend of mine put it this way that the young guy, he put it this way. He said the child that it's not that our childhood was unmet, but we have not mourned the child that we
lost. Wow.
That's another
one.
It's been a splendid week, and I hope you've had a wonderful time with our birthday.
Yeah, she was the best person to bring us at this morning.
Happy celebration.
Amen.
And to everyone celebrating today, having your anniversary, wish you the very best. My name is Remain Olori Adejoke Academy. We hope to see you next week. And don't forget, be yourself, enjoy your weekend, stay away from trouble, and all will be well with you. Bye for now.
Be happy. That's what I'm going to tell you. Be happy. Thank you to everyone that has made this full week in January wonderful. Like Olori said, this is a complete week for the new year. Thank you to all our guests, to the birthday lady, yes, to the crew, to everyone behind the camera. Yesterday we had our HOP celebrating with one of the engineers. January are special people. We love you people. Thank you. And to everyone that has made this week production. To Dari, the editor, a big shout out to you. We love you. To Magdalene, thank you for all the questions. Yes. Okay, so next week, as Olori will be taking us on another exciting, educative, and informative topics. Have a splendid weekend. Thank God it's Friday. I'm going to be happy. Yeah, let's be happy. Bye.